At this time, I'm going to have Sue introduce our guest speaker.
Our guest speaker is Maggie Crawford, and we were also blessed with Lisa Kuhar. Did I say it right? Good, I did. And Maggie is a former classroom teacher. She just gave me this to read, and I thought it was great. Along with her husband, she opened the first Sylvan Learning Center in Washington State. For more than 40 years, they provided supplemental education to students all over Spokane and Stevens County, and a few from as far as Lethbridge, Canada, and Uniontown, Washington. She's also a founding member of the Spokane Scholars Foundation. Maggie is a 33-year Rotarian also. She's been the president of Club 21 in downtown Spokane, served on numerous club committees, and is now in her second term as assistant governor, where she has a privilege of working, that's assistant governor of Rotary, right? Where she has the privilege of working with all 8 clubs of Spokane County. Lisa is very involved with Spokane Rotary Club South, and she was the one that introduced me to the Rotary Club because I didn't know anything about it, and I was really impressed with it and wanted them to come and speak. So please welcome Maggie.
Thank you. So how many of you know anything about Rotary? Couple, good. Well, Rotary is an organization that started back in 1905 in Chicago. A guy named Paul Harris was a new lawyer in town and really wanted to start making connections with other business people. So he and 3 other guys got together and they started meeting weekly and figured the easiest way to handle this was to just move their meetings between all 4 offices. So they rotated around, hence the name of the organization, Rotary. The guys decided that they wanted to do something, and this was all guys until the late 80s, but we fixed that. They decided they wanted to do good works around town. They didn't want to just be hanging out and drinking beer and stuff, so they put together a project where they built the first free public toilet in Chicago. Now, there are 1.4 million of us in 45,000 clubs across 200 countries in the world. Our goal is to improve our communities, the world, and ourselves. So how do we do that? There's an awful lot of things we can do. So we've decided to put together what we call 7 areas of focus. And we work on all of these things, sometimes concurrently, sometimes separately. But the first thing that we decided to work on is peacekeeping and conflict resolution. Man, do we need that these days. One of our original things after the Second World War was to help form the United Nations. And Rotary is the only non-government organization that holds a permanent seat at the UN. We now work to train people to be Rotary Peace Fellows. There are more than 1,800 of these folks in 140 countries. They lead NGOs, education and research, peacekeeping and law enforcement. Every year, Rotary gives away 50 scholarships for people who've been working in this field to do master's degrees and 80 certificate degrees. People who are doing master's degrees study at programs in pretty prestigious universities. A joint program at Duke and Chapel Hill in the US, International Christian University in Japan, University of Bradford in England, University of Queenstown in Australia, and Uppsala University in Sweden. We also are looking at disease prevention and treatment. Since 1979, we have been working to eradicate polio from the world. Some folks in the Philippines saw a real need there, so they put together a program to vaccinate all the little kiddos in the Philippines, for there were about 300,000 who had the disease. In 1988, Rotary as a whole took on this project, and that now is our signature project. Got to get polio out of the world. We've partnered with a number of organizations, including the World Health Organization. And in the last few years, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has matched every Rotary contribution 2-to-1. We've raised over $2.1 billion to get rid of this disease. Immunized about 3 billion kids in 122 countries. We've gotten rid of more than 99% of this disease in the world. Exactly, yay for that. Unfortunately, there are 2 countries where it still is endemic, Afghanistan and Pakistan. Last year, we got hit pretty hard with cases of the wild polio in both of those countries. Afghanistan had 25 cases. Pakistan had 74, which was a real low when we were trending at about 20 or 30 cases for the last 3 or 4 years before that. As you can imagine, the political strife in that area is the cause of a lot of it. This year, though, things are looking a little better. We're halfway through the year. We've only got 2 cases in Afghanistan, 18 in Pakistan. We've made a lot of headway working with the tribal leaders in both of those countries to allow us, along with these other organizations with which we work, to get into villages and take care of inoculating all the little kiddos. Women have a better chance of getting into the homes. Men can't go into homes without special permission, and that's rarely granted. The only men in homes in those countries are relatives. But we're beginning to find ways to get the women into the villages and get those inoculations done for those kids. We're also looking at other things like HIV, helping mothers get vaccinated before they give birth to babies so it doesn't pass along to the children. And we're working on malaria and dengue fever. In order for a lot of these things to really work, we've got to work on water, sanitation, and hygiene. There have been lots of projects around the world where Rotarians have built toilets, indoor toilets, hand washing stations, and lots of water wells. My club, for instance, is focused on Africa, and we're working on, I think, our 3rd or 4th water well. One of the clubs in Newport, Washington, had a fellow who was an engineer and drilled all kinds of stuff. He spent an awful lot of time down there. There was a project in the Dominican Republic where they built water sanitation, not sanitation.
Purification.
Sorry?
You mean purification?
Purification, thanks Lisa, yes. There was an article in the Rotarian magazine a few years ago, and the leader of the village was asked what he thought about this purification system. He said, the children aren't dying anymore. Talk about making a difference. Lisa's going to talk about a friend of ours who in another part of the Dominican Republic has helped build a couple of different water purification systems because the water down there is just not potable. Child and maternal health is another big issue for us. We've developed a number of prenatal clinics, some of them even mobile. In the societies and a lot of the places where these clinics are, and it's generally Africa, women are used to giving birth at home, and a lot of complications arise. There's some cultural stigma against going to hospitals. That is changing fairly rapidly because mothers and babies are living through the birth process. And that makes a huge difference to the families. They also do cancer screening. We also look at community and economic development. One of the big problems in a lot of these places is women are trying to start businesses and they have no money to do it. So we offer microloans to a lot of those places. This happens all over the world. A lot in Latin America, Central America, Africa again. These women can now make a living for themselves and their children. We also do loans to farmers for things like crop building, seeds, livestock, training in sustainable farming. A project that I thought was really cool is, if you know anything about the Southwest, the Navajos live in very separated communities and rarely have electricity. That really hampers all the weaving that the women do to make a living. It also means that the kids can't study when there's no light at night. So a lot of solar panels and things like that are going into these villages so these folks have light. We're also very concerned about the environment. We spend a lot of time educating people about supporting natural resource management and conservation. We look at protecting and restoring land, coastal, marine, and freshwater areas. Our international president several years ago encouraged every club in the world, now remember that's 45,000 of them, to plant trees in their areas. And hundreds of thousands of trees were planted during that year. You all know that trees help with the carbon problem and everything like that. Now, my favorite avenue of service is basic education and literacy. You know, as a teacher, and I know several of you have been, you want all of those kiddos in your classroom to come out reading and writing and doing math just like champions. Well, doesn't happen everywhere. Doesn't even happen here all the time. So a lot of clubs will give scholarships to kids who really show promise in their chosen fields. Typically these are high school scholarships. Sometimes they're college scholarships. One of my Valley clubs gives 2-year scholarships to folks going to community college, for instance. We also want to remove barriers to females going to school. In a lot of cultures, if a girl is menstruating, she's out of the classroom. So feminine hygiene products become more and more important, and we work on supplying those. Adult literacy is also another area where we really want to work. More than 775 million people all over the world, some of them here, are illiterate. That's 17% of the world population. So we look at doing adult education. I love a project that's in Africa. It's a phonics-based program to teach people to read. We do teacher training. We help people learn how to mentor students. We also look at getting refugees the skills they need to learn a second language. Now, my favorite part of this whole thing is books. I don't know if you'd be interested in book parts, but
Yeah.
no, okay, I'll move on. No. All of the clubs in this area and many clubs around the world look at getting books to kids. What little kid would not love one of these books over here? Yeah. What is it? Marcy and Tomatoes, Maria and Tomatoes. I'm sorry, I can't see that far. But you know, all of these great books that are out there for kids. And it's sad, but an awful lot of kids, even here in Spokane, live in families where they can't afford books. So I'm so pleased that so many of my clubs look at giving books away. Some clubs will donate a book in place of an honorarium for a speaker. Some of them are autographed by the person who spoke. Some of them have little messages in them so that they get a book that has something about, be a great reader, love your books, whatever. Some of these books are new, some of them are vintage, which I think is really kind of fun. One of my Valley clubs raised just under $12,000 last year to buy books for 10 schools in the Valley area, which meant that almost 2,500 kids got their very own book to take home. There are clubs that do reading buddies. My club used to do that. Lisa's club does a whole lot of stuff with books. I'd like to invite her up to tell you about what Club South does.
Yeah, you have Maggie, who's been with Rotary since the beginning of time. I believe she was there when Moses wrote his book. Oh wait, those were tablets. Okay, I'm not a microphone person. 35 years in the Air Force, I can pretty well command you to listen to me. No. I'm a retired Air Force officer physician. My friend Leah got me involved in Rotary a couple years ago. Very hard to be a Rotarian. Well, number one, it was a lot of business people, not a lot of medical people per se. And so since I've retired, I've gotten involved in Rotary and Rotary South. And we're a smaller club. We're an unpretentious club. I didn't know there were pretentious clubs. I'm not surprised. But it's a really nice mix of folks. And then we meet, in fact, this came from Rotary. We meet now at Sean O'Donnell's. I was going to say O'Doherty's, but I have to get past that. But I guess what attracted me to this club is that it is a focus on children, a focus on reading, focus on, number one, focus on service. 35 years service before self. That's what the military is about, by the way, not whatever is going on right now. So it was nice to be part of a group. And then the big focus is children. So as she was saying, we'll have our big fundraiser will be the barn dance in 2 weeks. If you guys want to come to a barn dance up in Green Bluff, let me know. You can come learn to line dance. But then we take that money, and what we do with that money is that we do have books. So when Maggie spoke to our club, or when Sue spoke to our club, when you're done speaking, we hand you a book or two, and we ask you to inscribe it, because that book is going to go to a child that may have no other opportunity to get a book. And so here, what message do you want to give those children about reading? We're obviously all voracious readers in this room, I would guess. My daughter counted once, and I had 50 books beside my bed at one point, and I was reading in most of them. So we value reading, and we know that reading really is the key to education, and education is the key to a better life. So we do that. The other thing we do is we do the reading buddies. Moran Prairie is our school. So we go up there, and it is so much fun, but it's so heartrending. So you're sitting in a common area with your kid, and the vice principal, Tad, assigns you your child, and you go up there and you pick a book, and maybe they read to you, maybe you read to them. You don't know what it's going to be. I had a little Russian girl, didn't speak any English. And so I read to her a little bit, and then one week finally, I was in the office, they go, she say anything to you? Did she interact? She didn't say anything in the lunch line. The first week I go, no. By the second week, we were like doing, so we pointed out, this is Blue. So she's getting up and she's walking around, and Blue. So we made a connection. What's heartbreaking about it is you're sitting in a common area and the kids come through and they look at you like, why can't I have one of those? So there's not enough reading buddies, authors. So every school has a reading buddy program, authors. So why don't you come read during the week? If you want to be Moran Prairie, we can get you Moran Prairie. If you're interested, you reach out to Sue. Sue will get in touch with me, and I'll get you the reading buddies person. In fact, I'll get her to come speak. Those kids love it. And they're kids that may have, and you can tell with some of these kids, no one reads with them or to them. And it's just that moment to connect, reading and connect these kids. You know, what do they say? You never know. Negative data you can never figure out. We'll never know how those kids turn out. But I'm hopeful that the fact that we invest, and from our club we have 5 or 6 of us that do it, that by doing that during the school year, that we give an hour or two each week, that maybe a couple of those kids, maybe they're gonna go on this path and not that path. Maybe it helps. And the teachers pick it up. The teachers are so enthusiastic, they love it. It is a lot of fun. So reading buddies, remind me and I'll get you that person. So we do that. And then at Christmas, my club, we get a $100 gift card for the Walmart for the parents, but we give the kids a bag, and in the bag is usually a toy and always a book. Always, always, always books. We just had our big event at Roosevelt, and we had boxes and boxes and boxes of books because someone that Dan knew or one of the guys, his daughter's father-in-law was a school teacher and had all these books of 35 years. So all those books when he retired came into his garage. They all went to Roosevelt. Kids got to pick 4 books, some old. We also had boxes of new books. Oh my gosh, you would have thought we were giving out Michael Jordan, Air Jordan shoes or something, I don't know. They were so enthusiastic. Can I have, and some, I don't care. They're books. You can't ever have too many books. So that's a big event that we do every year. As I said, we have a barn dance coming up, hopefully to raise some money. So it really is very, very neat, very much a focus. The other thing, we have Kristen, who is, she's gonna get married and move to Wenatchee or Chelan, so that's too bad. But she has a charity called Joshua 9. And she goes to Fondo Negro, Dominican Republic. She's an attorney, and she established this using baseball as an entry into the community in this small community, Fondo Negro. Now, anyone been to the Dominican Republic? Anyone been to some place like the Dominican Republic, where you don't flush the toilets with toilet paper, because they don't have a sewer system. Basically, when they build a house, they put a big dirty tank under, and so all your solids, they don't even have a septic field. Basically, it gets in there and it gets pumped out. So you never put solids or toilet, you don't put other stuff in because, So they have a baseball field, and it's really, all these kids, the nation that's second to America in putting people into the major leagues is the Dominican Republic, okay? So every little boy in the Dominican Republic is going to be the next Juan Soto, is going to be the next major leaguer. No, they're not, but they think they are. But so that baseball, so she used baseball as a way to get in and with the community, and as Maggie said, she leveraged, I think, some Rotary scholarship money for a water treatment plant because the kids didn't have clean water, so it's right by the ball field, but also a literacy program, which is how she and I got involved. Maggie bought the books. We went down and we gave books to every kid in the school. And we did a needs assessment, talked to the teachers, but we brought them books. And it was so exciting because, I mean, here's these kids, 13, 14-year-olds. You take that one, I'll take this one, we'll trade. They were figuring out how to leverage their one little book so that they could have more books. They were so excited. And these were books in Spanish, because Spanish is their tongue. These are the kids with their books, and they wear uniforms at school. They were so excited to see the books and to see us and to see Kirsten. But so that was a big project, and it brings it home very, very quickly how much we have and how little other folks have, and how exciting it is to be able to maybe meet a little bit of their need. Right now we're discussing doing a medical mission down there. Last time we went down, a dentist came from Seattle. We did a little dental work on the kids. That was kind of sporty. As a physician, I was her dental assistant, so it was kind of exciting. Do this, do that. But we're gonna try to see if we can up our game and maybe ask them how we could provide maybe some medical needs that might help them. I'm also mindful that as I go to another country and do this, we've got a lot of need here. And I sometimes wonder, as I challenge myself, is it fair just to go over there and meet the need? or what can I do in my own community? And one of the little things is the reading buddies. So as I said, you guys all love books, so I'm gonna make it my mission to get at least 5 of you into reading buddies this year, okay? Anyone wanna commit now? I'm in the military, I need 5 volunteers, no. But it's a sense of service, it's a sense of, what, make you nervous? Were you in the military?
Kids make me nervous.
Oh, they do? Okay. Well, they can do that. They also move quickly. They move very quickly. Some of them don't sit still either when you read. I was like, one kid, we're doing a Kung Fu cat, and he's, hi-ya, hi-ya. Okay, good, great. Evidently you're into it. I'm good with you. So that is my involvement. Our Rotary Club, as I said, very keen. So if any of you want to come speak to my Rotary Club about anything that you think would be of interest, not your book, you can. Now, we had Sue come to tell us what you guys were about. We like to learn about the community. And so, all seriousness, today we had the Salish school people come. And, you know, she and her husband, they've been married 40 years. She is a native, but her grandmother was born with the language. She was not, but the Salish school was looking to build a new school, and that was exciting. So we like to learn what's going on in the community. So that's why we had Sue come out and tell us about you guys, because it's part of our community. It's part of what links us. I think it's the more connections we make, the better. So that's what I had to say about life. I am not an author. I'm married to an author, but I am not an author. I can't sit still long enough to do that stuff. So I'm more of a hiker and a backpacker. So any questions that you have about Rotary in general, that's your woman. Spokane South Rotary, I'm your gal. Kids, reading, anything, any questions we can answer. Yes, ma'am.
You're not running off, are you? 'Cause I'd like to talk to you.
No, it all depends. Is it a good thing you want to talk to me about, or is I like my book overdue at the library? No.
Is there a way that we can contact you
Just put the speakers
specifically?
down.
I have a book that my husband and I wrote together. He's a research scientist, and it's about worms and how they help.
Now I know what
us.
kind of scientist he was.
Yes.
Because in my business, worms are not supposed to be in you.
and for fertilizer and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like to donate some of the books to your kids. So
Okay.
is there a way? I can
You just let
contact
Sue,
you?
yeah, Sue should have our email and our,
Is
Contact.
to just let Sue know. Anybody who wants to get a hold of me directly, I've got cards. Happy to-
I don't have cards because I retired from the military. Refused to ever have a card again. No,
Yeah.
that's okay. I did 35 years and absolutely loved it in the Air Force. It went too fast. I would do it again, but not presently. I might be asked to do something I couldn't do. But anyhow, I'd be around, but we're very keen on kids and you guys and literacy, so I think it's a perfect match, a match made in heaven. So I need you guys to do reading buddies. Maybe I'll get the kids to come here. No, we'll figure it out. It is a lot of fun. Thank you for letting us speak. As I said, any other questions?
Thank you very much.